So we went from the distributed firewall into the gateway firewall. So what is it going to look like as we work with that? Well, let's look at our diagram real quick just to see what we're going to work with. We're going to set up here in lab 12 a perimeter around your three-tier application, around that tier 1 gateway. So we're going to set up some firewall rules and watch what does or does not happen to that traffic. So we're going to start by preparing for the lab, just like we have every other lab that we have worked through. And so here we just need to make sure that the NSX UI is up and open and ready to go. We'll also just as a matter of course, let's make sure we've got the vSphere client open. You can see that I've been logged out, not probably, I've been logged out due to time here. So we'll go ahead and log back into this. It's been a little while since we've done anything in vSphere. And oh, there it is again. I guess instead of just hitting log back in, I ought to just go back to the bookmark every time instead. But alas. So what are we going to do? Well, first thing we're going to do is we're going to check connectivity. So I'm going to come in here to MT Putty, and I'm going to find my SA Web 01 tab that I've already got open. We do not want to worry about curl. I want to try an SSH from 172.172.16.20.11. Right? That's my web server. Sorry, not my web server. It's my app server. So, we can SSH from the web server to the app server here. I know it seems like something that we probably wouldn't do, right? I wouldn't want to SSH into my web server or into my app server from my web server. We're going to test this. Now, then we want to make sure that any SSH connections we have to the virtual machines, we probably want to close. So Web 1, App 1, I don't have anything to DB01. I don't have anything to Web 2 or Web 3. So we want to make sure those are all closed right now. And from here, we want to go back to NSX. Right now we're gonna block traffic. So we've seen that we can SSH from our desktop, from our student desktop, into the three-tier application. Right? We did that because we had the PuTTY session open. Right? That's just an SSH session into the virtual machine. So we know that works. And we could SSH from the web server to the app server. And that may or may not be desirable. But we're worried about the perimeter right now. So what are we going to do? Well, let's go set up some rules to protect that perimeter. So now in security, we need to go to Gateway Firewall. And here we are, we're in gateway specific rules. I need to choose an appropriate gateway for this. Well, here we're going to put our rules on the tier 0 gateway. Go ahead and put that on the tier 0 gateway. So we need to change our gateway so that we're looking at the right gateway. And then we need to add a policy. And we're going to call this policy block SSH, block external SSH traffic. Right, we want to look at that because that's what we're gonna do. So let's add a rule. Let's come in here. Let's add a rule to the policy, and we'll call this block SSH, or even better, reject, because that's what we're going to do. And from any source to my three-tier application, that's what we want to build. So I can use the same types of constructs here. In the gateway firewall that I use in my distributed firewall. So we're reusing that three-tier group. The service we're looking for in particular is going to be SSH. Now, I'm not going to sift through, what would this be, 8 or 9 pages worth of stuff. I'm just going to search for SSH. Let's try actually SSH instead of just SH. That was more than I wanted to sift through. So we'll check that, and that's going to block, or well, we're going to match. Right, that's what we're doing. We're going to match any source and the 3-tier application destination and the SSH service. And we want to, just like we said in the title of the rule, reject this. So we'll go ahead and publish that. Now, how do we test this? What are we going to do? Well, we need to come in to PuTTY. We had to close these connections because we're going to try and reopen them. So let's come back to Web 1. Nope, I got a connection refused. All right. We can't do that. Can I? What about App 1? You think I can get to App 1? Nope. Let's close this and see if I can get to my app server. Nope. Connection was refused. Close that. What about my database server? Oh no, that was refused as well. So all 3 of those connections are matching that rule we just published in the gateway. Right, every one of them. So now to do any more testing, we need to come into vSphere. Let's come back over my vSphere client and let's find Web01. I say Web01, and let's open up this web console again. And so here I'm in SA Web01. Right? Can't SSH in, so we'll go ahead and try to SSH to the app server from here. Now, this worked earlier, right? We tried this earlier in our first step, in our first test, and we found that Web01 could SSH to App01. And it looks like here we can still do the same thing. Right? We can still look at the same thing. And that makes a lot of sense, right? Because all we did is put that firewall rule to reject traffic on the perimeter on that tier 0 gateway. Well, the tier 0 gateway doesn't protect my web server from my app server. If I wanted to do that, that would be a case where we build a distributed firewall. So we'll go ahead and exit the SSH connection. But then we want to go back to PuTTY. We want to go back to an SSH session. And if you don't already have a connection open, right, open up an SSH connection to SA NSX Edge 02. Right? And we're going to do that because we want to run the command get firewall interfaces. And that gives out a list of all of the interfaces where I have the gateway firewall instantiated. Now, what we're looking for is, we're going to look for SRBGP T0G1, GW01. So that's my backplane interface. That's an internal routing interface. There's my uplink. That's what I'm looking for. So I need this UUID. I need the UUID of the uplink interface. And so, in PuTTY, if I simply highlight the text, it's going to be automatically copied to the clipboard, which is great because now I can just start typing get firewall, and then I can right click to paste, rule set, rules. And if I do that, I see my rule. Look at that. There's the rule we just created. TCP from any source to address set 172.16.10.11, 12, 13, 20.11, 30.11, right? Port 22 reject. So we're rejecting our SSH traffic, right? We can see it right here. So we've now experienced the joy of the gateway firewall. How fun is that? Now, what we want to do here, because we want to go ahead and open this back up so that everything just kind of works, we're going to go ahead and open this back up. We're going to find our policy. We're going to go ahead and disable all of the rules for this policy and publish. Then we're going to come back down here and make sure that our Web01 connections, or App01 connection, or DB01 connection, which we haven't logged into yet, all work, and they do. We've undone the rules. We're just fine. We're in great shape here. So that is, as they say, that. That wraps up lab number 12. Coming up, we've still got cool stuff to talk about, including things like intrusion detection and prevention. So come back after the next lectures, come back for that lab. We'll see you soon.